Okay, welcome back to our distance learning video tutorial series on how to practice like a pro. This is video number 3. Video number 1 covered full range scales, so hopefully by now you are a master on your A flat major scale. And video 2 covered a thing called fermata drill, which was taking that scale and just messing around with it, trying to create something pretty that didn't sound like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So step 3 is where you really start to get to have some fun with this. So we're going to take our trusty cell phones, or your one-to-one will work fine for this. And I went to YouTube and I searched A flat major background track. And the first link that comes up says smooth jazz guitar backing track, A flat major, free jam tracks, TCDG. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a listen to that. And I'm going to share this link on Canvas so you'll have a link right to this, but here's what it sounds like. Oh, of course it doesn't want to play. You're going to have to listen to the advertisement. Oh, here we go. There we go. So this is just a cool drum, guitar, bass background track in the key of A flat major. So let me play my scale, see how it sounds. So I got my full range scale. Most of those notes, really all of those notes sound fine. Now I can put my scale in eighth note. And that works, but still sounds like a scale. Let's go to video 2's thought process of creating a melody, but this time locking it in with the background. Here we go. So there you go. I used the whole scale, but mostly what I used was do, re, mi, so, and la. So if you actually think about this, you can actually, oh, this doesn't erase super good, but you can erase fa and ti if you're not quite ready to do the whole scale. And I would say 90% of what I just played, maybe even 95% of what I just played, was just these 5 notes in 2 octaves, and just was kind of creating. And it's super fun. You might, well, if you can play it at that level and you feel comfortable with that, you're ready to move on at the next step. But, you know, it's taken me 20 years to kind of get to the point where I'm comfortable creating and playing it at those kind of tempos. And, you know, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So if you go to play and it doesn't sound the same as what I just played, that's okay and completely normal. What I would really love to hear you guys do is start to experiment with just 3 or 4 notes, right? Do, re, mi, and so. and it will give you a great sounding kind of melodic phrase. Four notes, and you can have a lot of fun, and you can play something that's really cool, really fun. And then the farther you get, the more advanced you get. You can start adding the la, the sixth note in. You can start adding the upper octave in if you want to give yourself a full octave. You can start adding the whole scale. You can go full range. You can go thirds. There's so much that you can do with this, and you can have just a blast playing, because there's no structure, there's no rules other than play the A-flat major scale, right? There's certain notes. Let's talk about real quick why I didn't play fa and ti as much. The theory behind it is pretty simple. If you were to look at a piano, this is where the half steps lie between mi and fa. So if you remember the formula for the major scale, it's a whole step between do and re, a whole step between re and mi, but there's a half step between mi and fa. And so if the piano or if the guitar or if the background track is playing that, and I land on fa, and if I kind of hold it, it's going to grind. You might like that, and you might actually want to use that. It's called tension, and tension is cool as long as you resolve it. So I can actually show you here in a second how to use that note, that fourth note there, to create some tension in your solo, but then always, you can either resolve it up or you can resolve it down and get a pretty neat kind of thing happening. But if you avoid it completely, these first three notes, the fifth note and the sixth note, will always sound good. The same thing happens up here with your seventh note, T. It's so close to do. It's a half step away from do that it's going to grind, and you're going to want to resolve it up to do. And if you just kind of land on it and sit on it, it might feel wrong. So let me show you why I avoided those notes. Here's an example of landing on the fourth note and just kind of holding it. If you like that, cool. If you don't like the tension that the fourth note creates, stay away from it. Alright, so now I'm going to land on the seventh note. I'm going to land on T. Kind of leaves you with like a question mark if you kind of land on it. So there's actually nothing wrong with that note. It's just, it has a dissonance to it that some people like and some people don't. So you can be careful with those two notes, T and fa, and you can remove them, or if you like that sound and you want to experiment, the whole scale is going to work with this background track. So hopefully you guys can put this on, experiment with that creative fermata drill. This track will run for 21 minutes, so you got a lot of time that you can kind of experiment with creating nice melodies. So what I'd like you guys to do is have some fun with that, and I will see you on our next video.